y'all know what time it is? Do y'all really know what time it is? It's time to grab your popcorn, grab your best beverage. It's time to relax your ears. Wrestling season has returned, baby.
Ooh, yeah!
That's right. And it's time for your main event. Coming down the aisle, we have the one, Bobby Wrestles. And he is accompanied by the beautiful Amor. This is the main event. Welcome to the All About Wrestling podcast.
Good morning. Good morning on this New Year's Eve. Thank you for joining us. Cheers to you. Bam, you see it. New mug, folks. And today we have some topics that we would love to get into. Ric Flair. But the question is, who is Richard Flair? Okay, we all know the styling, profiling, jet flying, limousine riding, willing, dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun. But if you've seen this documentary on Peacock, there's many questions that we would love to get answered. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. There's a poll in the live chat, and it asks the question, arguably, is Ric Flair the greatest wrestler of all time? Okay, so please share your opinion. And how fitting, Charlotte Flair returns last night on SmackDown, your new Women's SmackDown champion. We're also talking about AAA. They're done with putting championship straps on AEW talent. We've seen this debacle with Ty Melo and Sammy Guevara. Of course, Ty had an obligation and she chose AEW. So we're also going to talk about that. Except if you're Kenny Omega, it doesn't matter. Because in the eyes of AAA, Kenny Omega's value is up there. Shout out to Tantalizing Tony. Thank you, brother, for that super chat. We do have a little bit of a game we're going to play a little bit after I introduce my lovely co-host. Shout out, good morning, everybody in the live chat. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce the beautiful Mi Amor.
He got all my tags up there, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How you feeling?
Good morning, good afternoon. Not sure where you're located. You like our mugs? Very nice, very inexpensive. And what better way to represent us? Come on. You wake up to your morning coffee with the All About Wrestling podcast.
And Mi Amor.
Yeah. So I see you threw my little OnlyFans tag up there. If you guys are not subscribing, you're missing out. I haven't been on there much this week, but definitely going to make some new content. Bobby's not helping, by the way, so it's all me.
What?
He doesn't help, guys. He pushed it out so much, and he doesn't even help me.
It's not fair.
I need a photographer. But anyway.
Okay, there you go.
Not right now, buddy. So anyway, okay, Happy New Year, you guys. It's about to be a new year. Are you kidding me? Like, this year is almost over. You know, everybody has a New Year's resolution, but why not start today, right? So it's going to be 2023. This year is finally almost over. And I'm pretty excited to start a new year. How about you?
I am. I'm very excited. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of new friends. I do want to, again, shout out Tantalizing Tony and congrats to him last night on his live stream. He did a SmackDown watch party. Over 2,000 live viewers. 2,000 live viewers, folks. So if you're not familiar with Tantalizing Tony, I do want to go over his page. All right, so there it is. This is our page. You can go down to our follow our friends section. Tantalizing Tony right there in the middle. Over 5,000 subscribers. Also check out my other friends, Anthony Blackwell Jr., Anthony Graves Podcast, Mind of AK, and Nice Guy Andy podcast. All right. So in the live chat, I see you, Pretty Fit Collector. Good morning. Happy New Year's Eve to you. And I am going to help me out more. I think she's just talking trash. Oh, and you're going to help. There you go. All right. So Meow Moore stepped away shortly. Shout out to Sergeant of Marines Connolly in reference to Ric Flair. He says, definitely maybe. If you're counting numerous championships, but them, Hulk Hogan can be as well. Something to think about. All right. It is. It's very, very interesting. And in terms of everything, the life, the struggles, this is what we're talking about. I think being the greatest wrestler of all time transcends just beyond what happens in the ring. John Cena, he does numerous make-a-wishes. So that's very interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go over our super chat quotes. All right, so Tantalizing Tony, thank you for our super chat. And what we're going to do is when we get a super chat, we're going to introduce a wrestling quote. All right, a little bit of trivia. If you know the quote, say it in the live chat. All right, we want to test your wrestling knowledge. All right, so super chat wrestling quote number 1. All right, here we go. For a lot of you longtime wrestling fans, what wrestler said this? I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour. Daniel Pinson, hello, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the briefing. All right, so if you guys know, put it in the chat. Right now, we're going to have our Wrestling Online report. This is the Wrestling Online report. Folks, a lot has happened in the world of pro wrestling, and our good friend Colin Vassallo from Wrestling Online has been gracious enough to bless us with this news. All right, Amor, you ready for all of this stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. All right. UFC President Dana White has been doing 12 days of giveaways leading up to the Christmas day. Merry Christmas, everyone. He saved the best for last. He's partnering with On Location and WWE to award the final winner a trip to WrestleMania. Folks in the live chat, what are your thoughts about that? Bray Wyatt wrestled his first match since WrestleMania 37. He returned to the ring for the first time since he came back in October. Wrestled Jinder Mahal at the WWE Holiday Tour. It was a non-televised event at Madison Square Garden. Battle of the Belts 5 to air. All my AEW fans in the live chat, this is for you. The 5th installment of Battle of the Belts will be airing live on Friday, January 6th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. This is going to be immediately following the conclusion of Rampage, all right, on TNT. David Batista's movie. His movie's out. Upcoming movie is called Knock at the Cabin.
It looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
So you saw this? You saw the trailer for this?
Yeah.
Anybody else see the trailer for this? What are your thoughts about it?
I would watch it. I would pay for it.
You pay for it? You love to see Batista.
First of all, Bobby, let's stop there. Batista is not my type, but he's not a bad-looking guy. I just think he's a good actor. He just is. He has the talent. So why not?
I hear you.
Bobby.
Folks, Batista's character breaks into a cabin and holds a family hostage, insisting that the world is about to end. So I definitely want to see him go AWOL bonkers. Very interesting.
It's exciting, Mike.
It is exciting.
You usually see them do like fun kid movies or something, and they're the big guy. Like, it's just weird, but I think this is going to be good.
I hear you. The best of 7 series for the AEW Trios titles goes to the 7th match. We knew that was going to happen. Why not? You have 2 of the greatest trios in the world. FTR drops the AAA Tag Team titles, dropped them to the team of Jalistico and Dragon Lee. Interesting enough, Dragon Lee signs with WWE. Triple H, he saw great talent. Dragon Lee, he was on AEW, I think, once or twice. He said, nah. pen to paper, Dragon Lee is in WWE, and I believe he's going to be starting with NXT. Referee Jessica Carr hits the stunner on Sami Zayn, tantalizing Tony. Watch out. Sami Zayn might not get the chance to dethrone Roman Reigns. It might be referee Jessica Carr. Former TNA commentator Don West passes away. How unfortunate. At age 59 after a battle with cancer. AJ Styles injured at non-televised event. Some kind of leg injury. Sting says Darby Allin will be in his last match. And of course, his last match is expected to be a tag team match. And lastly, French-Canadian broadcaster RDS drops AEW due to budget constraints. So, folks, if you are interested in getting this news, make sure you go to wrestling-online.com. All right, there's the website there. Click on newsletter. All right, you want to join this group. And, folks, if you put your email in there, you are guaranteed to get a daily dose of wrestling news sent right to your email. You'll be informed, and hey, you'll be ready to start your channel.
Start your channel, guys. Shake that ass.
Oh,
I'm just playing.
Folks in the live chat.
Guys, if I look like I'm sleepy, I am sleepy. Bobby woke me up at this time to come see you all.
Absolutely. We love to be with you guys on a New Year's Eve. We do have a winner of my question. All right. Let's see. Sergeant of Marines Connolly, Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar Billy Graham, correct. He was the one who quoted, "I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour." So congrats to you, sir. Mr. Spades, hello, hello. Folks, if you can see, the Pretty Fit Collector, her name is in green. What that means is that she's a member of our channel, all right? So those that want to be members of our channel, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and join, all right? All right? Mr. Spade, Sean Johns. Welcome, brother. Sean Johns, he's a member of the Nice Guy Andy podcast. All right, folks, let's get on with these topics. I would love to see what you guys think. Our poll is there. In your mind, is Ric Flair arguably the greatest wrestler of all time? Oh, this is a split decision. 33% said yes. 33% said no. 33% said maybe. All right, there were 6 votes. Folks, hit the likes, hit the likes. If you like this video, hit the likes. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Bobby, what's in your mug?
Juice, actually.
Yes. What is it, really juice or is it spiked?
It is. No, it's juice. It's juice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have a job to do here. Right? I have a responsibility to you guys. That's right.
Okay. So we have a lot of good things coming up this year. I don't want to put Bobby on the spot because he has like this whole thing of when he wants to give little goodies to you guys. Like goodies, I mean news, like news, exciting news. But we have a lot of crazy stuff going on this year. I just want to mention, if you were on our episode last week where you called in, or if you were watching, or if you haven't watched our episode for last week, you should definitely go back and watch it because we did get some feedback on that episode. And from Misha Montana, actually. So if you wanted to go back and just look at the comments and go through that episode, make sure you click the link, make sure you subscribe, hit your notification bell so you know when we are either on or you can catch our episode. You don't want to miss these things. And we're going to be having new merch soon, so you're going to want to keep your eye out for that. We have a lot of things, a lot of exciting plans that we have for the new year. You guys, my OnlyFans account, send your feedback. Tell me what you want to see, okay? And what else do I have here? Let me think. This unusual time is killing me. I'm not going to lie, Bobby.
But believe it or not, you know, as creators, and most of us are content creators here, we've been paying a lot of attention to our analytics. And according to YouTube, most of our viewers are up at this time.
Yeah, of course they are. This is a great time. It's either this time or like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. because of the time change when you're around the world.
Right.
Yeah, we're so excited for the new year. What's your New Year's resolution? Let us know. Drop a comment and let us know what you want to either improve or work on or change for the new year. And make sure you guys stick to that shit because y'all be lying.
All right, folks. Let's get on with this topic. All right. Question is, who is Richard Flair? We know who Ric Flair is, the trendsetter, the individual who blurred the lines between wrestling reality and what is just not real. Folks, we're talking about becoming Ric Flair. All right. Is Ric Flair the greatest champion of all time? This documentary, this docudrama, whatever you want to call it, has sent waves through Peacock and the entertainment world alike. We've seen his issues with alcohol. He is the 16-time world champion. He sported $30,000 Rolexes, suits, drove in limousines, and nobody could tell him anything. Was this documentary captivating to you, and is Ric Flair the greatest wrestler of all time? Amor, what are your thoughts?
Maybe.
Maybe. Why do you say maybe?
Because I'm not really like, I can't say he's the best wrestler of all time. Because I'm not really, I could be entirely wrong, but I know he's one of the greats, one of the legends. Like, I can put him in that category.
Okay.
I'm on live, y'all. Hey. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Folks, phone lines are open. We'd like to hear your thoughts about it. Charlotte Flair returns. And how fitting she returns with all of this stuff going on. New music. And she defeats Ronda Rousey. Is Ronda Rousey gone? Is she in the works of a new storyline? ABJ mentioned that, he thinks that he's possibly going to, she's probably going to possibly feud with Shayna Baszler. So what are your thoughts? Mr. Spades, in his opinion, it's HBK, but he's definitely in the top 10. I did make reference to HBK being the greatest wrestler of all time, and I have my reasons, but that's a subject for another show. Kendall Wiggins, come on. If you don't think Flair's the GOAT, you must be a late 90s fan. I
am. Hey, first of all, don't throw any shade, y'all. I'm a baby. But come on. I'm a baby.
I thought this documentary was sad because Ric Flair, he mentioned when the interviewer asked him, he said, what do you think about Richard Flair? And he said, I don't really like him. He's talking about himself. And he's been through so many things. He's escaped death maybe twice. He was in a plane crash that was highlighted in this documentary on Peacock, as well as actually flatlining in a hospital. And that was more recently. But I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Wow.
All right, so we have a caller. All About Wrestling podcast. Who's calling in?
This is Cash Money Simon.
Cash Money Simon. What's going
on?
AKA Big Daddy Green. Let's talk about that little topic you got there about Ric Flair. I left it already on there.
Let's go.
You got my IQ of Sergeant of Marines Connolly. That's me on there.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, maybe. Then you got to go back to the history of wrestling, period. So you got a lot of greats. You can start with Harley Race. You can start with Buddy Rogers. He was the first, I believe, to hold the WWE and NWA championship. So are we going outside the ring or in the ring or in the business period? So it's like you can Ric Flair is definitely in the top 3. But like I said, you got Hulk Hogan. He won international championships. If you're going with that situation, he has done charities and things like that outside the ring and everything else. John Cena, he's just been established in the WWE.
Right.
So when we go to different wrestlers, we got to see what they did outside their current promotions or the promotions before them. And we also have to understand the fact that when wrestlers go ahead and go to different promotions, like Ric Flair did it. I got to say, he was the second one to hold the WWF and the NWA championship. Or should I say he was the first to hold the NWA, WWF, and WCW championship. So Ric Flair is definitely high up there.
So you mentioned top 3. So who is your top 3? Now you mentioned 3 wrestlers. Are those your top 3?
I have to say it will have to be Buddy Rogers. It will have to be Hulk Hogan is definitely in that, and Ric Flair is definitely in that. So if we go about his criminal record and all that nonsense, then we're not being fair, because they pulled that same stunt in the NFL with Terrell Owens, not making the Hall of Fame, as far as in the previous years. So, but we don't want to go that route. So it's something that you have to ask his peers more than just ask us. Because who are we? Yeah, yes, we are the wrestling fans.
That's right.
We've seen him, and actually he held the championship more than 16 times. See, nobody knows that he wrestled Carlito's father, Carlos Colon, in Puerto Rico. He was forced to lose the title in Puerto Rico, all because they was going to riot. So, and then he won it back in the States against Carlos Colon. That's not even heard of. People don't know about the stuff. And then we're not talking about the international stuff that he did. So he's very well, could be, but in my opinion, I think it's somebody higher still.
Okay. So I've thought long and hard about this, and for a long time, HBK was my number 1. But I have to take into consideration everything that a person sacrifices for the sport of pro wrestling. And there's not much story about what Shawn Michaels did yet. That's public knowledge. But according to this documentary, I have to place Ric Flair above Shawn Michaels only because of what he sacrificed to get where he did in terms of spending most of his money at the time, which is very little, and investing in himself and his character. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did the same thing in my character. So when I go out there, everybody thinks that if you don't know me, you will think that he's just this pompous ass guy that want to go ahead and put people down, and he got this so-called money and all this other stuff. But that's really the opposite of me.
All right, hold on a second, Cash Money. Hold on, we got somebody else on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. All About Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for joining in. Who's calling?
Tantalizing Tony.
The tantalizing one, folks. Tantalizing Tony is on the line. Brother, how are you? Before you answer that question, Sean Johns, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He says, personally, nobody can touch Ric Flair on the microphone. Tantalizing Tony, what are your thoughts on this topic? Cash Money, stay on the line. There may be a little bit of rebuttal to what you're saying. I don't know. Tantalizing Tony, please, your thoughts.
First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's listening and watching to the All About Wrestling podcast. You guys are great. Love you both. And Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes. So here's the thing. Look, I am 54 years old, so I'm old school. I'm an OG. I followed the Mid-South Wrestling. I followed WCCW. I followed everything from back in the day. Ric Flair arguably is the GOAT, but here's my problem with this, okay? Look, he's great on the mic. He's lived his gimmick. You know, in the days of where you had to believe wrestling, you believe Ric Flair, because you believe when he got that limousine, you believe that he was sleeping with all those women. you believe that he was doing this thing, that he was silent profiling and all that stuff. He made his thing. He made his gimmick his life. But in aspects of the best of all time, the greatest of all time, that's so hard to say because so many people, not so many, but there's so many iconic wrestlers that have come after Ric Flair. And listen, is right. I am not a Hulk Hogan fan. I am not a Hulk Hogan fan by any stretch of imagination. But who brought more eyes to the product of wrestling? Did Ric Flair or did Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan in the 80s was on the Johnny Carson show. He was mainstream. He brought the rock and wrestling connection to the forefront. Now, Ric Flair having banger matches, 45-minute matches, going against Steamboat, going against Dusty Rhodes, going against Harley Race. Of course, wrestling in Puerto Rico, Carlos Colon. His lineage, his history goes back. But we talk about in the eyes of the mainstream, is he the greatest of all time? I got to say no because what you wanted to, when you talk about wrestling, okay, wrestling was a joke to everybody until Hulk Hogan made the scene. They made an entire show. They took Saturday Night Live off the air once a month for Saturday Night's main event to put them on NBC, to put them in the mainstream media. So is Ric Flair great of all time? I got to say, I hate to say it, but no.
Ooh. All right. And Cash Money, thoughts?
I'm still here.
What do you think?
He very well could be right, like I said earlier. I don't really know if Ric Flair is the best of all time. Like the caller said, he said they got The Rock. The Rock has done some wonderful stuff in and outside the ring.
Right.
Mostly nowadays outside the ring. So, yeah, I mean, and same here. I'm not a Hogan fan, but I got to give credit is due. You know, I don't have to be a fan to actually tell the truth about an actual athlete or give my opinion about an athlete. But it's definitely, it could very well be true.
Okay.
It can very well be true. That's what I mean. I couldn't even. I'm actually speechless on the topic now because of the fact is that caller is right. Possibly, he may not be the best, but is he the best person giving promos? Yes. Yes. And then before him, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tantalizing Tony.
I just want to also say this. When you say greatest, you know, people's criteria of greatest is different. And it also goes to perception, what people's perception is. Because some people think that box office means you're the best wrestler. Some people think if you can wrestle 60 minutes a match, you're the best wrestler. Some people think that if you're a high flyer, you're the best wrestler. So there's so many different criteria of what the best is, what the greatest is for different people. So it also goes to what you feel is the best is. But before I hang up, I want to say one thing before I go. And the guy who is on the phone right now, great points, man. You made great points. I just want to say anything about the All Out Wrestling podcast before I go, because I talk all night, as you well know, Bobby and me and more.
Yes.
But from now on, guys, when you see this channel going on, make sure your notification bell's on, because from now on, Bobby and me and more are known as Pop, the power couple of podcasts. They are the pop, because every time when we hear that big pop in the ring, we want to see that pop. Like at WrestleMania, we want to hear the pop. These two right now on your screens, whether you watch it on your phone, on your tablet, on your TV screen, on your computer, these guys are the power couple of podcasts. And you remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, you know when they're going live. Me and more, Bobby, I love you. I'm Tantalizing Tony. I'm out of here. As always, do what I do best, and that.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you.
Okay.
Make sure you go to his YouTube channel, folks.
Yeah, he is the energy, definitely. He has a lot of energy. He is he's very cool, down to earth type of dude, and if you're around him, you definitely gonna see what he has to offer, because he's gonna make you hear that shit.
Cash Money, you still on the line?
Pretty great. Tantalizing Tony.
All right, real quick. Sean Johns, thank you so much for a super chat, brother. Like I said before, we're going to go with wrestling quotes. Cash Money, if you're in a live chat, you may be able to get this one because you got the first one. All right. Here's a quote. It may be a little difficulty, a little bit complex, maybe vague, but it goes, business just picked up. Business just picked up. All right. Mind of AK, I think you were trying to call in. You can call in if you want. Let's throw in the other topic here. AAA breaks deal with AEW. We're still talking about Flair if you want to chime in. Is he the greatest wrestler of all time? But we do want to talk about AAA, how Ty, Melo, and Sammy were stripped of the AEW World Mixed Tag Team Championships. They had an obligation to both companies, and they chose. Did they choose right? Did they choose the right decision? Was it a little bit unprofessional? It's a bit of a sticky situation because what do you do? What do you do in that situation? Pittsburgh, you on the line?
I am here.
Mind of AK, brother. What's going on? Happy New Year's Eve.
What's going on? Happy New Year to you guys. Happy New Year, me Amor.
Happy New Year's.
You guys are catching me early. I'm just now getting the coffee to work, but we're here.
You and me both, man.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Last day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown last night was absolutely insane. I had very little that I didn't like about the show. I'm shocked that I'm actually excited that Charlotte Flair is back.
Right.
I know you guys are about to talk about that, but she looks great. Her training off the camera has been impeccable. And if it means I no longer have to see Ronda on my TV, even better. I don't know if that's going to be what leads to it, but I heard some rumors that she is looking to take a lot of time away, and this was how they chose to do it. But all that to say aside, I just wanted to touch on really quick the last topic you guys had about Ric Flair. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I know a lot of comparisons get made, understandably so, between Flair and Hogan, who belongs at the higher spot of the Mount Rushmore, who is quote-unquote the GOAT. And I leave it to this. They both obviously transcended the business in their own ways. I mean, Hulkamania dominated the 80s and 90s. Hulk Hogan's return in the early 2000s also basically revitalized a lot of the business, because at that time WCW was no more, so it was literally WWE and nothing else. However, Flair, you can say, has transcended it consistently for almost half a century now. When you think about it, he's been relevant, and he hasn't, obviously, the man just had a match, a month ago? Yeah. And it was actually a sold-out show. I can only count on my hand the handful of matches for Hogan that I actually voluntarily wanted to watch. Now that I was older, obviously as a kid, Hogan this, Hogan that, but he has never, in my opinion, had a match that captivated me as a fan as much as Flair. And I'm not even touching on the Flair and HBK match from Mania that, to me, is the greatest match told with a story in WrestleMania history. From the opening bell to I'm Sorry, I Love You, super sweet chin music, that match had a story that very rarely may ever be touched. To me, when you look at it that way, Flair has given more to the business than I believe, honestly, he's gotten back. Yes, obviously he has a financial backing now. His family has roots in it with SmackDown, with Charlotte Flair and WWE. But like you said earlier, he invested so much of his time, so much of his energy to something that at the time there was no guarantee he would get anything more out of it.
Right.
So based off of that, I would say, again, to me, HBK from a performer standpoint is the top, just performance alone. But as you alluded to earlier, we don't know how much he really had to sacrifice versus how much the business had to sacrifice to keep HBK.
Right.
So in those comparisons, I definitely believe Ric Flair, I don't think the business is what it is today if he wasn't there. And, I mean, look at the stables that he had. You had Arn, the Four Horsemen. You had Evolution. Even if we're going to touch on TNA, Fortune, in my opinion, was a very slept-on stable in TNA. I really enjoyed his work there too. But to go to my point, there's not a decade in our lifetime, I'm closer to 40 now, where you could say Ric Flair's name hasn't meant something. Hogan's name, I don't think is worth that much anymore. I mean, obviously he's still Hulk Hogan. If he shows up at a Comic-Con, he's going to get a turnout. But there's not, as a wrestler fan, I would find it very hard to argue if there is any fan who doesn't consider Flair one of the greatest of any generation. Older ones, now, anything like that. And he laid so much of a framework for the business that I based off of that alone, I would consider him the GOAT. But from a performance standpoint, I would say it's HBK.
Okay. And I think we're on the same page. Tantalizing Tony mentioned it earlier. He said it is a very subjective, perspective-based realm where we apply our own personal wrestling experiences to the topic. And then we do that with everything. We're humans. You mentioned your greatest WrestleMania match, in your opinion, was Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, right? It's funny because my greatest WrestleMania match, in my opinion, it involved Shawn Michaels, and it was the Iron Man match between him and Bret the Hitman Hart, because there was so much.
Okay, yeah, that was a good one.
Yep, there was so much of a story behind it, and it's interesting that both of those matches involved Shawn Michaels. But again, in everybody's opinion is important because based on their own specific criteria, we put weights and we put different criteria on wrestlers based on what we think is important in valuing and determining if they're the greatest wrestler of all time.
That match, also, I would definitely say it's a top 5. Like, when you listen to the backstory of how close that match was to not even happening, and again, I'm not a wrestling historian by any stretch. I just remember what I watched growing up, and then the little dives on YouTube or searching. Bret didn't want to do the finish. Like, they had to practically beg him to at least finish the match the way that it came out. And I mean, think about that. An Iron Man match that went to a draw at WrestleMania and it quote unquote goes to overtime. Yeah. The way that it went about, I definitely agree. That was an immensely great story. Immensely great. And like you said, HBK being the caveat for both of those definitely shows why he belongs in the top echelon. I mean, like he's Mr. WrestleMania. But, yeah, to get back on Flair, let me ask you guys this. Have you ever, whether you go WCW, NWA, WWE, I'm not talking just regular matches like one-offs on Monday Night Raw or something in TNA. When it comes to big crowds, big environments, how many times have you seen Ric Flair subpar deliver? Can you guys recall one?
Honestly, I cannot.
Yeah, I can't either.
I can't, only because I think there's a bit of a difference. I think Ric Flair's greatness, and this is my opinion, I think his greatness evolved from who he was internally and the persona that was associated with him. When Ric Flair's music, when his music hit, you got that element of elegance, the goosebumps, because the music hit and it's Ric Flair. It's nobody can emulate that.
Right.
Aside from whatever he did in the ring, on the microphone, his music hits, the entrance, the robe. I think that was.
Let me add too. I think his personality. I feel like when somebody walks into the room and they own it, that energy shows off on people.
Right.
And, he was very confident in himself. He was very good at what he did as far as wrestling, and he knew it, and he wanted everyone else to know it. And I think that type of personality and that type of energy just bleeds off of him. And yeah, just the way he entered, exactly. And just, his confidence and his, his like everyone just wanted to look and be like, oh my God, he looks great. You know, he's one of the good wrestlers. He's definitely a person who is going to make sure he's remembered, you know?
And that's where I wanted to touch on. And that's why to just sell my point home, I know it sounds like a very open statement, like no beat Sherlock. Again, when it comes to Flair, when the camera's on and it's a big stage, whether it's a SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Bound for Glory, the man knew, I have to basically prove why these people bought a ticket to see me. Because, not just because financials aside, he knew his legacy had to always be intact. You know, literally the last match that he had, he's almost close to the 80 now, and he's still taking bumps. And if I watched the match, for as old as he is, with the people involved in it, he delivered. And that, to me, he is more about controlling his legacy versus the financial part of it, at least in my opinion.
Exactly.
I can't say the same for Hogan. I've seen Hogan literally just walk into the building, put on a match, and leave.
Hogan is a scandal, okay? Hogan had a whole scandal issue going on when he was...
Yeah.
I mean, we all know about this, but we're not talking about Hogan. We're talking about Ric Flair.
No, the only reason I brought up Hogan was because people were comparing the two, and it's been like this the entire time. Okay, who is the bigger office draw? Is it Flair or is it Hogan? I would insert Austin in that, but I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. But
Yeah, I just want to mention, though, like, I don't want to discredit Charlotte Flair because she made a name for herself. However, his name definitely helped her succeed and be known in the wrestling industry because of who he is. And just like Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, when she comes into the ring, when she enters, when she's there, she wants everybody to know that she is there. So just like that legendary personality and that energy and that aura, she has that moment for every moment that she walks into that ring or into the building. So, you know, she's legendary too. So thank you, Ric Flair, for that, because, you know, now we have in the women industry, we have somebody who is going to be remembered, you know?
Oh, definitely. And to, you know, transition a little bit, last night, to go to your point, was a prime example of that. She had a complete different new entrance, but when you hear, to go to Bobby's point, dun, dun, that place erupted. It literally erupted. You would have thought Cena was coming out, but it was Charlotte. And, you know, I literally, like, listen, I'm one of the fans that hates how much she gets the title. We get it. She's her daughter. She's her Ric Flair's daughter. Okay, she's going to win all the championships. I get it. But last night, I was so happy how they had her win the title. I thought it was perfect for storyline purposes. I think it's a great, interesting dynamic to go into the Royal Rumble and everything about that. And it fits. She deserves it. She's literally royalty. To go to the point that we've been making, she's wrestling royalty. You know, as far as that.
She was clearly the face. She was the face.
Absolutely. All right,
and
she looked great. Like, she looked like she literally, I am the queen. And to touch on one point real quick, I don't know if you guys listened to I forget the name, but it was Corey Gray's podcast for WWE. He said this about a year and a half ago. Charlotte was going through like a transitional period where she wasn't sure if she was supposed to be a face or a heel. Her confidence was kind of going sideways a little bit. And he said, I want the Charlotte where I don't want to root for her, but I'm forced to respect her because she's that good. And last night I felt like we actually got that. Yes, the match was super short. It was essentially a squash match. But that energy, that bravado of there is no other female in this company that can touch me, I think we got that back again last night with her. And I'm actually really excited to see what programs develop. I mean, look at the roster on SmackDown now. There's so many female talent. If they do the cross-pollination thing with Raw too, I'm excited to see where this goes.
We are too. Bro, we're going to keep it pushing, but I do want you to promote your channel. Folks, Mind of AK just dropped a video of his collection with a countdown of rankings of his sculptures. You have to go to his page. You have to go to his page and check out his videos because you will be blown away. We are. So you can go to my channel, All About Wrestling Podcast, go to our channel and go down to the bottom, follow our friends. That's him right there, Minor VK. Please go to his channel, subscribe, show him some love. Folks, I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. You'll be stuck and glued to the screen with the sculptures that he makes. Hands down, we guarantee it. Bro, thanks for calling in.
I appreciate that, guys. And I just want to really quickly say, you guys had an amazing year. I can't wait to see what you guys bring in 2023. All the blessings and love over here in Pittsburgh. And I will talk to you guys next year.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, brother.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for calling in.
Folks, we do have a winner of the quote, Kendall Wiggins. All right. So the quote was, business just picked up. It was Jim Ross. All right. So me, Amor, write that down. Kendall Wiggins, right? Mm-hmm. Also write down Sergeant of Marines Connolly, Cash Money Simon. That's him. Cash Money Simon. All right. So we're going to do something special to our quote winners. Okay. Tantalizing Tony. Flair reminds me of me. I can see that. You have that energy that everybody wants to be a part of. Kendall Wiggins says, without Flair, NWA Crockett never would have started Starrcade and the closed circuit pay-per-view that Vince copied and made bigger with Mania 1 built around Hogan. Great point. Sean Johns says Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 was perfect, in his opinion. The final Nitro, in Sean John's opinion, was a little bit lackluster. It wasn't either Sting or Flair's best matches together. We agree. I kind of feel like they've had the longest fizzling out of their careers, but I think Sting continues to surpass everyone's thoughts about him slacking.
I agree. And he looks great, like physically, like it's crazy. He looks really young.
He does. Although he's wearing face paint. By the way, talking about Sting, folks, check it out.
Why don't you stand up?
Because I'm too tall.
Just stand up a little bit.
That hurts.
Oh my
I'm complaining, I know.
There we go.
That's nice. Classic Sting. Right after what? I guess even during the Blade Runners. You guys don't know about that, do you? I know Tantalizing One may know about that. All right. Lastly, do want to talk about this Triple A situation. Folks, what are your thoughts? I mean, you got two wrestlers. They're kind of stuck. And in my opinion, I really believe that this is poor planning on the part of Triple A. This is poor planning. You have a championship match with your mixed tag champions on a date that AEW airs, unless there's something that we're not seeing here. Maybe, it was in a contract where they were supposed to be there. Decision was made. I mean, it could be on the part of Tony Khan saying, you know what, screw them, you're coming to Dynamite. We don't know. But the fact remains, they were stripped. Ty Melo and Sammy Guevara was stripped of the titles. All right, and I mean, great titles, great prestige, but as a professional wrestler, do you do that? Do you just completely disregard an obligation that you have? We don't know if that's happened, but the optics look very bad.
No, you don't. You shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that.
That's my opinion.
Folks in the live chat, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions on this topic?
It's an obligation that you have. Why would you do that?
Right.
I don't understand. I think we've seen a lot of rule breaking, haven't we?
We have lately. What's going on? I don't like
this. Why are there rules?
Because art imitates life. We see this in real life. Rules are being broken everywhere. People are.
Bobby, I have a question. Are you a rule breaker? Don't lie.
No. No, I'm not.
No, he's not a rule breaker. I'm the rule breaker.
She's the rule breaker. And this is art. So look, on this microphone, on this live stream, I appear to be charismatic, full of energy, full of excitement, right? But in real life, I'm just me. I'm quiet. I'm reserved. And that's just the way it is. But I have an obligation. We have an obligation to entertain you.
What's so funny? It's crazy because now that you explain that, in person, you see me on the screen and I'm kind of quiet, right?
Yeah, it's the opposite. It is the complete opposite.
In person, I am not quiet at all. And it's kind of like it's a weird thing. It's, people, it's what you picture them to be,
Right.
It is what it is.
Folks, hit those likes. Mi Amor, I want you to promote our show for. Why are you laughing at me?
Come on, let's go.
I want you to promote our show for next Sunday.
Okay, so we have cards and
Chops cards.
I can't read. I'm blind. I'm getting old here. Chops cards and collectibles. Okay, so you see it right here on my screen. This is going to be exciting. We love collectibles. I mean, what can I put on another jacket? So what do we have here? We just have cards and collectibles. What do they have? Do we actually know what they have?
Of course we do. So Chops Cards and Collectibles, folks, they are a card company. Think of trading cards, all right? Chops Cards and Collectibles, they create cards based on any genre. For instance, wrestling, pro wrestling, indie wrestling, comics, movies, sports. All right, so please check them out. They're on Instagram, Chops Cards and Collectibles, and they have their Square site. Check them out. They can customize cards, trading cards for wrestlers, podcasters.
That's pretty cool. I like that. It's cool. And you know what? It kind of makes me think when we went to the Showboat in Atlantic City, they have this arcade thing there, and they had a wrestling game, and I actually won the wrestling game, and my prize was a playing card.
Right.
So that kind of makes me think it may be similar to that, but we'll have them on the show for next week, and I'm going to look up and see what they have so I can share with you guys the next time we're on the screen.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to share with us, Mi Amor?
No, just be careful out there. If you guys are celebrating New Year's Eve anywhere else besides your home and you're drinking, don't drink and drive. And just be careful, with other people on the road and things like that. And have a wonderful New Year.
Have a wonderful New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the super chats, folks. We'll be with you next year.
And I want to say one more thing. For everyone who supports us and everyone who watches us and everyone who subscribed this year, thank you so much for, following our wrestling podcast. And we really appreciate you.
We do. Thank you so much.